Well, welcome to the show. Today we have Mike Padua from Shoot Film Co., who makes products for the modern analog photographer, I would say. And Mike, please introduce yourself or let people know who you are.
Sure. Well, hey everybody, my name is Mike Padua. You've probably seen me on Instagram or YouTube or Twitter or whatever, but you might know me by my company name called Shoot Film Co. Um, and yeah, I just create like patches, stickers, little notebooks, and stuff like that for photographers who shoot film.
Okay, I, Mike, are you a photographer yourself? I seem to seen a video of you and you have like a studio. Is that like your profession or is it a hobby?
Yeah, well, I am a photographer. I actually have a studio. When I started shooting professionally, I was actually shooting stills on movie and television production sets,
Oh,
and then that kind of segued into uh, photography for theatrical and musical productions.
mm-hmm.
So I did that. I did like a few years of that, and then that kind of segued into having a studio where I would shoot like actors' headshots, professionals' headshots, and
Okay.
that's kind of where I am now.
Okay, okay. And this shoot film co started from you wanted to do something else apart from just, work as a photographer. You saw there was like a product you wanted to make, or what was the plan? What was behind shoot film co?
It was kind of a little of all of the above. It started with one patch. Well, first of all, like um, professionally, I have to shoot digital.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have a choice there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll kind of shoot personally, like some film, but I'd been shooting. I picked up film again in 2009, but after a while, I just had this idea to make one patch for me and like a few of my friends, and I made a handful of those, and I gave those out, and then people started asking for them. So it just kind of grew from there. The main thing with that was that it just it what was important to me was the message, like the vehicle being the patches and stickers. That's just the vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. But the message was film is still very important to me, and here's why. And if it's important to you, then here's how you can kind of help to share in that or kind of show that to the people around you.
Yeah, well, I think we all get the whole like sometimes they see our cameras and they're shooting out, and people still ask like, oh, they still make film. So I guess it is a
Yeah,
good message that at least I mean we're wearing or using cameras, but also trying to wear patches or stickers on your computer or anything like that that will kind of show
sure,
too. I mean, people walk around with a phone with a cutout of the Apple because I guess they're proud that they have an Apple phone.
sure,
So at
yeah,
least, I mean, we can be proud of having a film camera and that we shoot film. So I've never been a big. I mean, I came from skateboarding back in the day, and it was all a sticker community. You
yeah,
really
absolutely.
build that. And I came to photography, and when I started in 2009, there was no real film stickers. I mean,
Hmm.
brands were shutting down and you wouldn't get any promotional stickers or some things that came. So when this
Yeah.
started again, I kind of took it like I didn't know if I liked it or not sometimes.
Hmm.
I do appreciate and I do have a few stickers around, but I kind of went low into the branding, and I think the skateboarding was such a big brand that I went into like minimalism with brands and
Sure.
buying t-shirts with no logos and stuff like that. But I see that I like the idea that people are doing stuff like what you're doing in the photo memo, which I picked because you sent me these, which I'm sadly haven't even touched except for now, because I have so much stuff around the house, it's crazy. And I like the idea of
I know what
making
that's like.
the memos and things that you can use to record, because it is important to shoot film in the means that you slow down and take your time, to write down what you're learning. Like I got back to digital for photography, and it was so easy to learn, but then you forget how easy it is to forget what was
Yeah,
important, like
absolutely.
exposure and all that. So yeah,
Hmm.
tell me about the photo memo books. How did that happen? Did you decide there was a need to about it, or you just felt like doing something different?
Well, yeah, I mean the big need was my own. You know, these are something that I made for myself. It was something that I wanted. You know, I would always like I'm a big note taker. I like having a pencil in my or a pen in my hands and having, you know, writing things down in a journal or a piece of paper or sketches and stuff like that. I sketch and draw a lot. So really this came from my own need. Like necessity is the mother of invention, you know.
Hmm.
And I just wanted something that was dedicated because I was shooting more and more and more film and you know using more and more cameras and experimenting with just all kinds of different lenses and stuff that I was really losing track of what I was shooting and you know I would have so many scraps of paper and notebooks and you know here and there in this pocket in that bag that it was just a big mess, you know. So I just you know it was something that I wanted to make for myself because it was something that I needed and I just you know I just kind of figured you know in talking to my friends and talking to people online like I realized that like I cannot be the only person who needs something like this, you know. So I just kind of made a prototype. I sent it off to some friends to kind of test. You know, I sent off just you know a bunch of ideas to people to kind of pick their brains about what might work and what might not work. And over the course of a number of months, this thing was born.
Yeah. Do you design all your products? Because I've seen that, you know, I mean, the little drawings on your patches, your little, I looked at on your line too, because I would call them pins, but buttons for the,
The buttons, sure.
those are really nice. I really like the idea of the concept of the digital numbers, like the old school, kind of like your Casio watch, like, you know, for the
Yeah, yeah.
frame.
The LCD, yeah.
Yeah, those LCD that end up like dying on those old cameras. I really like the design. Do you design it yourself, all of your own product?
Almost all of them. So I I can't draw. Like I have a background in graphic design, but I cannot draw. So things like this, you're talking about the LCD
Yeah,
sets, things
those
like
are,
that.
I really like those.
Yeah, yeah. Things like most of the patches I design, there's a couple that have some fairly ornate illustrations. Like I have a patch with the Frankenstein's monster on it,
Hmm.
another patch with Dracula on it. I can't draw that well, so I work with another artist, a couple of
Okay.
artists actually that will draw those for me. But everything else, I do design myself. The photo memos I design myself.
No, yeah, I mean, is it challenging to do something like it? I would never be able to make a like a design, like a photo memo, like the pages and all this. Like, do you
Mm-hmm.
find it? I mean, you say you come from graphic design, so is it not a challenge to do it?
Yeah, but you know, it's not a challenge, but well, it is and it isn't. So the big challenge is the big challenge is like, okay, I'm getting thousands of these printed. I have to get it right.
Yeah.
You know, I have to, you know, I read over it, you know, 50 times to make sure there's no typos. I had my wife read through it. You know, I wanted to make sure the placement of everything was right and it felt right. So that's the challenge. But you know, as for the technical part of it, um, you know, that's easy because I've been doing. I actually one of my first jobs years ago, like in the late '90s, was working at a commercial printer. So you know, I since like the late '90s, I had my hands on things like back then it was Adobe PageMaker. You know, InDesign didn't exist yet. Quark was another page layout software. Photoshop, Illustrator. So I've had my hands in that for almost you know 17, 18 years. So
Okay.
the technical part of it, you know, was something I'm really familiar. Also, working in print shops, like I know how these things are printed and how they're bound and stapled and corners rounded. I know how all that stuff works. So, you know,
Okay.
working with a printer kind of came natural to me.
Okay, well, I have to say it's great work. I remember actually I had a friend brought some film today, and I remember you made the special edition. What was it called? FP. I can't remember. It was you did these,
Oh, it
no?
was
The FP Dead or
yeah, yeah.
FP.
It was a pin. It was the R. It was when they announced that that
They were
film
discontinuing. Yeah.
they were going to discontinue it, and everybody, you know, naturally everybody was sad. It's the kind of film that has like a huge following, you know. So I just kind of, just as a reaction to that, I made a pin that looked like that box that said R.I.P. as in rest in peace,
Yeah.
100C.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of like a little. I think I made 200 or 300 of them, and they went pretty quick, and that was that.
I thought that was pretty snappy how fast, since I mean they announced it and you made them and they were so like they really look like the box, like I really like
Yeah.
the idea.
Uh-huh.
You also have this one about Leica, which is kind of like the way you say it, but like it's like I don't know if you have one there or not. And now
Yeah, I
I'll
do.
pop it on the screen when I edit.
I do this thing. I don't know if it's going to show up on
Yeah, it
the
shows.
camera there,
Yeah.
but just to play on the words. I myself am a big Leica fan. I shoot a Leica,
Mm-hmm.
and but I just thought that play on words, the I don't know. Here in America, we fill our sentences with that
Mm-hmm.
like comma So I just
Yeah.
thought that play on words was
No,
was kind of a funny.
I'm a big fan of being serious and funny at the same time. That's why my
Sure.
newest show I wear tacky clothes and I have a
The
weird.
suit, yeah, the
Yeah,
suit.
that's
I
the
love
whole.
that. I love that you go all out with the suit and the hair and everything.
Yeah, there's a new version coming soon. But yeah, I kind of like the whole like the film's like serious. We're all serious people, but we're all having fun at the same time. So
Sure.
that's why I like those pins with a bit of a touch of humor and
Right.
like the film's not dead and you got like the Frankenstein's like coming back to life. So yeah, and then you've been coming out with products slowly. Is there like an idea of making something? Because I think your photo memo was basically the biggest product you've made because you have the pins, stickers, you've had the patches. Is there ideas for new things? Because it looks like you never stop with the ideas.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a long list of ideas. I've got a long list of. I mean, I want to say it's dozens of things at this point that I want to create. It's just a matter of, creating these things takes a big infusion of capital.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the things I'm working on right now is it's a version of the photo memo, but it's more like a steno pad, and it's more along the lines of like an exposure log. So, this version, if anybody viewing this spread is designed for a roll of film, basically.
Yeah.
So you've got your roll number, your camera, your lens, but there are people that take notes on every single exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I'm working on right now, and outside of that, there's so much stuff. I've got dozens of sketches for patches, dozens of ideas for pins, more, like a half dozen kind of different versions of this thing.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of getting the capital together to make that stuff. I've got to be real careful
Yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah. I understand. I mean, it takes a lot of investment in, having a stock and shipping them. Do you actually make a one-off patch, or you kind of like order it and then if it's successful, you make another second batch, or are you doing like limited editions? Because the Fuji FP, you said you made 200, you sold out, and like you move on to something else. Do you recycle, like restock some of them, or you just make one
Yeah, I
off?
do. I do. I mean, the reason I stopped making that Fuji pin was that
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know, I just kind of wanted to mourn that thing, and that was my response. And that was the way I mourned
Uh-huh.
the community's loss of that thing. But I didn't want to beat that dead horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I
I didn't
understand.
I didn't want to I, you know I Fujifilm gets a lot of hate. I might be getting off the rails here, but Fujifilm kind of gets a lot of hate, and
Mm-hmm.
that was a kind of like a playful jab at them. But I didn't want to, like I said, it just wasn't something that I wanted to beat into the ground. I
Yeah.
just kind of wanted to respond to it, share it with the world, and just be done with it.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything else, yeah, I do restock. I don't make. There are a couple of things that when they've run out, I just decided not to restock them because I'm going to make a new version of them. But there's really no, I'm not doing the limited edition thing to drive up demand for anything. I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not into the idea of artificially driving up demand because something is limited.
Okay. And how has the response been? I mean, so far, if you keep on making and investing on new things, I'm guessing a great response by the amount of following you're getting on Instagram, social media, and all this. You're very active too, which I think is a great thing. I like the idea of a brand and a person behind the brand and being, on top of the product and the analog community, not just selling a product and just, okay,
Sure.
that's it, I'm doing it, and I sell
Yeah.
that. Like you're all over the place, you're thrift shopping. How's the response to your products, the brand, and the community with you?
I mean, the response has been great. Like the thing that I love most about it is the community. Like if back a couple of years ago when I made that one patch, like I said, it was for me and a couple of buddies, and that grew into like a lot more people. So, and that is literally my favorite thing about this is meeting people like you who are doing things,
Mm-hmm.
kind of spreading a message and spreading education and entertainment, and just cool stuff like that, and it's been terrific. The community is by far the best thing about everything that I'm doing. I'm now connected to thousands more people than I ever could have imagined, who are just cool people doing awesome stuff,
Mm-hmm.
just creating work and inspiring me and inspiring the people around them, and it's been terrific.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about a lot, and I actually was listening to Dave Bias podcast about Ferrani. I don't know if you heard it, and it was like
Absolutely.
how the digital kind of like almost killed film, but then us being connected through digital social media and all these things have made
Hmm.
film together again. Like, I mean, that we're talking. I'm in Spain. You're in California. These
Right.
things are what I think has driven us all together and to be so friendly because we're one off in our town or maybe two off in our towns, and this makes us
Yeah.
connect, and the bonds are much bigger. And the whole idea, like you said, like the pins and these stuff, like I walk around with my camera, someone will stop me, but if they see a pin, they'll stop me too and be like, oh, hey, you shoot film or you shoot large format or I don't know,
Yeah.
you're wearing a t-shirt that says something. I mean, that whole idea that we're showing our passion kind of connects to others and everyone's friendly, which is a great way like to connect and keep on shooting. And that's why I take all my social media and all the videos, I want to do it towards people that are positive about it, not negative,
Hmm.
like you said, not hating on a brand, not hating on a user because you use a Leica or I use Leica too. I don't mind if someone wants to think, oh, you were, snobby because you shoot it. Like I
Right.
bought it cheaper than most of anything else.
Sure.
So yeah, that's something I really enjoy, and I like that your community. So you also do YouTube videos, and you
I
also
do.
have a little blog on your website. I'll link the website below and at the beginning so people can see it. But I mean, they can find you easily through your name or your website. But the YouTube happened because you also felt like doing it, or you do it just for the sake of it. I saw you just did a M6 video, which you went into the
Yeah.
20 something minutes. It's so hard to make a short videos on gear, so I understand
Yeah, it
that.
is. It is. I went pretty. I was knee deep in the water on that one.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was the Leica M6 review. I had a lot to say about that camera, which I love. Um, it's got its little things, but yeah, I mean the YouTube channel exists just because like there's things that there's things that I feel like I want to say and share with people. Obviously the Leica M6. Like I had made a joke when I posted about it on Instagram. It's like, hey, this has never been reviewed before, so I'm gonna make a review.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's been reviewed so many times on so many blogs and so many YouTube videos. But I just feel like there's some things that I want to add to the conversation, and it's just a fun thing to do. It's like being in front of a camera and talking is that's outside my comfort zone. So, so just kind of pushing myself in that direction to be able to, to have like the courage to do that and then share it with the world is just something, I just kind of felt compelled to do. And it's fun, like
It
it,
is.
it, it, it brings up a lot of conversation with people,
Mm-hmm.
what with comments and people, people have since sent me a bunch of messages asking more questions that I didn't cover about the Leica that I
Yeah.
that I wished I covered about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just kind of all in the sake of the conversation and talking to people and just getting information out there and helping people. If I can help somebody like make a decision about something or shed some light on something that they were curious about.
Yeah, I always feel like when I'll watch your, I haven't watched it yet, I'm sorry, but I'll watch your video and I'll be like, oh, he totally missed this about it. Like you said, like you had your part that you wanted to add to maybe a different video. Maybe you watched, I don't know, Matt Day's
Yeah.
video. You're like, Matt Day's video is great, but he didn't talk about this thing that I find annoying or I find nice because maybe you got chunky
Mm-hmm.
fingers or you got skinny fingers. And I always find it's fun how everyone makes their version thinking, oh, they totally missed that. Like, I'm going to put it on
Yeah.
top because I want to
Yeah.
say it and I want to help. And it's fun. I find it fun. I also have a really uncomfortable, I feel really uncomfortable in front of the camera. And
Mm-hmm.
I've come to the point that I don't care anymore. I go all the way there to be ridiculed. I
I
don't
mean,
mind.
it's great freedom when it's like, my first couple of videos is super self-conscious. I mean, I'm still self-conscious. I'm
Hmm.
still uncomfortable in front of the camera. I still trip over my words and stuff. But, like you said, when you get to that point where it's like, whatever, I don't care anymore. It's such a liberating feeling when you can just say, look, okay, I'm just going to record this. I'm going to hit upload and I'm done.
Yeah.
And just, it's
And
such a liberating
no,
feeling.
and then you get positive feedback, and it's all great.
Uh-huh.
It's great that you do it. And on top of that, I'll have to say, if anyone hasn't seen, your stories are actually really entertaining. Tell me about your hunt for every single camera out there. Like, I've seen you buy all kinds of cameras that nobody would ever
Sure.
buy. So what's behind that?
Yeah.
Is it like you like it, or what is it?
Well, one, I like it. One,
Hmm.
obviously, I like cameras. I love photography and I like cameras. People, I guess they're two separate loves. Photography does not necessarily equal cameras. The gear and the work, blah,
Hmm.
whatever. But I like cameras. I have been doing it for years. Back in like 2011, 12, 13, when film sales were at an all-time slump, you could go into any Goodwill or a Goodwill. I don't know if you're familiar with Goodwill there in Spain, but it's basically a thrift store or what in the UK they call a charity shop,
Yeah.
secondhand stuff
Hmm.
that people don't want, so they donate it to this place and then you go and buy this stuff. But there was so much stuff out there, and I just got to this point where I would find a camera and I would think like, I have no idea what this is. It's super cool. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna take it home and I'm gonna learn about it. And then that cycle just continued, that like thirst for knowledge, just seeing something that I've never seen before or seeing something that is not necessarily like a desirable thing, along with the stuff that is desirable, along with the stuff that people want. Just kind of and experiencing that. I kind of half jokingly, half seriously, I call it camera rescue.
Hmm.
We're just rescuing something from the bottom of a dusty bin that's just going to get either thrown out or crushed by, a toaster in a bin in the back of some
Yeah.
estate sale or whatever. You just rescue that thing and bring it home and get it working and either using it or just giving it to somebody who can use it. I just kind of really like that idea of rescuing that what to a lot of people is junk.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, what do you do? Because it looks like you go through a lot of these charity shops or Goodwill shops, and you pick a
Hmm.
lot of little things. Do you give them away to friends, family, or just random people you meet, or you keep them?
All of the above. Like, I don't know if you can see this shelf behind me.
Yeah, I can see it.
That is like full of cameras, and then on this second one is some packing supplies,
Hmm.
and then every shelf below that is loaded with cameras. But so all of the above. So I sell some. I'm really bad at selling cameras, because I tend to hang on to them.
Uh-huh.
Um, and lately, what I've been doing is I've just been giving them away. Like a really good friend of mine, um, he messaged me and said, "Hey, do you have an SLR that I can buy off you?" And I said, "Dude, I have like six Pentax
Hmm.
K1000s. Come over here, take your pick. You can have one. They're all working. because I've all fired them. I've put film through all of them.
Uh-huh.
So just um, if I see someone in need saying like, hey, I'm looking for this, and I'll just kind of on the download, just say, hey, I've got one you can have. So lately, that's how I've been clearing out my stuff, is I've been giving some of it away.
No, and it feels great to, like you say, like to rescue a camera and give it to someone that needs it. I've always
Yeah.
thought we should have like, I mean, the FPP have like a school program. People donate and
Yes.
send to schools.
Yeah.
And like I've always thought it'd be awesome to make like a community like place to send for young people, like underage. Like, hey, you're under 18,
Right.
you can get a free camera. Whatever camera you
Mm-hmm.
pick, like just grab one out of the bin or I'll ship it. Like it'd be so nice to have something like that. I wish I could do something. I want to do workshops with kiddos and stuff to teach
Mm-hmm.
them. You've got children, and I
I
see
do.
them around, and I have children. I think it's important to show them that it's also a way to do, like shooting film
Yeah.
and using old cameras and rescuing and recycling, which is everyone's buying and throwing. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's always important. I would say we talked about the future, what you want to make, and anything else you would like to add, because we're going into 30 minutes and I don't want to make it too long.
Sure.
But anything else you want to add about what you want to do or your work or anything like that?
We've covered a lot of it. Like the biggest deal to me is just being able to spread a message and spread the love about like film and photography, and kind of and really bring people in. Like you said, like kind of positivity. Like, I'm not looking to make like an exclusive community. I want to be open to everybody who's curious about it or wants to learn about it, and wants to shoot film. So that's just like, that's kind of what drives everything I do, is just like, I want to make the community better. This summer we're going to plan, we had a film shooters meetup. It was kind of a smaller thing, and I was kind of centered around a camera show nearby. And it wasn't like a formal thing. It was just like, hey, I'm going to be at this camera show. Come show up. Let's go hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm going to be organizing a lot more like meetups with people. And I think, we've got a couple of locations planned for summer, and I think that's just going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, community. Like I just want to make the community better and bigger, and just I want to make it a cool place.
No, yeah, I think that's something that we all share in the film world or film photography world, is that we understand that what we're doing is a privilege because it almost went away, and how we
Right.
want to spread
Right.
it and help, because we're all in the back of our head think, you'll love film, but also you'll buy film, which means we'll have film
Mm-hmm.
in the future. Like, in the end, it's a
Right,
cycle.
yeah.
It's a little bit like almost, how do you say in Spanish? It's egoísta, like selfish. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want people to learn because I think they'll love it, but I also know that if they love it, everyone else will join, and it'll just be exponential, and we'll have film together in future.
Yeah.
And more cameras
Yeah.
and more film. And I always think about it's kind of selfish, but not selfish. Like we all
Mm-hmm.
love it, and we like spreading it. So yeah, I can continue talking like that for hours. So
Yeah, me too.
so yeah, well, Mike, thanks very much for joining us today, joining me. As I said, I'll leave all your links and all that so people can check it out. I highly recommend, as I said, your stories are fun to see, your thrift store shopping and all these things.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll keep in touch and through social media and nothing. So thank you for joining me.
All right. Thank you so much for having me, Nico.
Bye.